And we're off to the races. Hey guys, how's it going? I hope all of you guys are having a great day. It's a fantastic, clear day in here, right? I mean, it was raining earlier.
Yeah, in here.
We can't say the same for the outside world, but in my little hub, in this awesome powerhouse place that we have tonight, guys, I cannot say enough about the next young man. I know some of you guys are watching over at BIGO Live. This cat, man, is pretty wonderful in more than one ways. I've been blown away since I met him. The guy took off, and it was more like he was conducting the interview, which I really love, right? It's refreshing.
Is that your way of telling me I talk about myself a lot?
This cat hosts his own show on BIGO. It's called the host of The Vocalist on BIGO. Yeah, I don't know if you guys have heard about this, but you guys better get on. Let's start by getting the BIGO app downloaded. I tried, by the way, but then you know what happened is I tried to get on, and then for some reason or another, I guess my phone, you know, like the gigabytes and whatnot. I don't know what it was. It's just that this is a 1985 model. It's a cinder block. Guys, it is my distinct pleasure and an honor to introduce to you guys Mr. Guitar Rock God, Guitar God 83, Mr. Ben Smith.
Hey, thank you so much.
Hey,
I appreciate
man,
you.
bro, this is, are you kidding me, man? Thank you for coming out here all the way, making the trek all the way out here to Almost Famous, man. And, bro, like, we got a lot to unpack tonight.
Definitely. I never want to miss an opportunity. So thank you first off. I mean, you're having me on your show, and that means a lot to me. You know, the fact that I'm even considered to be on something that's called Almost Famous.
Yeah.
I just tell people, look, I'm a guy that loves to hang out and play music, and I practice a lot. You know,
you know what's the irony? Before you continue, you know what's the irony? Most of the people that I've had on the show are quasi-famous. They're more like, well, you know, the majority of them have done pretty great things. But it's funny because this is kind of a nod to my family, because, you know, I come from a family of musicians and actors. And so to me, it's like Almost Famous because I rub elbows with all the famous people. And once upon a time, I was a limo driver. So Juicy Divas Confessions of a Limo Driver podcast and book as well, respectively, is kind of what I've been doing for a very long time. And then, you know, after a while, I decided to create a podcast, and then I decided to jump ship and then do Almost Famous. Somebody goes, you ought to do Almost Famous because, dude, you're like almost there. You're almost there. So, speaking of famous, you have amassed quite an audience, if you will, on BIGO, bro.
Yeah.
And you traveled the world in the 7 seas. You've been on a Warped Tour. You've jammed with some of the coolest bands here in California and Cali. And you've been let's talk a little bit about how this experience started, because it started when you were 10 years old.
Yeah. So, I mean, back in the day when I was 10 years old, I'm from Illinois originally.
Right.
And my friend down the street, we were playing basketball, and it was so hot that day. And we just went inside to play video games for like an hour, because it's just like, let's just go in and beat the heat for a little bit. And I had not really paid too much attention to rock music or anything like that, but I did always have like Metallica whenever they came on MTV. That Enter Sandman video, it just caught my attention big time every time that I would see it. And we were playing video games, and I noticed in the corner of the room that my buddy had these 2 black guitars. And I'm like, oh, that's like Metallica had those black guitars that I saw. I was like, do you know how to play those? And he's like, yeah. I was like, fuck the video games, man. Like, show me what you know here. Like, that's rad. And he was actually a year younger than me. And he started teaching me every single Metallica song he knew.
So you could shred that early on?
I mean, yeah, it was like, well, I mean, you learn like, you know.
Right.
But then it went to like, I was like, teach me the hardest song you know. I want to know everything you know. And that, you know, went into Seek
This guy's a virtuoso, isn't he?
Seek and Destroy. and then it went to, you know, okay, what's next? And then an Ozzy. So, you know, it was just like everything that I could possibly learn from him, I soaked up like a sponge.
Yeah, right.
And I think after about a year, I was passing him his skill level. And that's when my parents made me earn guitar lessons. So it was for Christmas the next year, you can take guitar lessons, but you got to have a B average.
And
you
you
got to
excelled
work
in
for
school
it.
as well, right? I mean,
I did
there
what I
is
needed
nothing.
to.
I think there's nothing that you haven't already conquered, to tell you the truth, just by listening to all your stories, dude. I mean,
I have this thing that when I like something, I like dive in head
Yeah.
first and just get like really into it.
pedal to the metal, baby.
And I was like one of those kids that in high school, like my mom used to have to yell at me to stop playing and do my homework. Like I
Wow.
would like turn your guitar off, do your homework, then you can play later.
Right.
Like the same kind of things with video games too. I was like, you can turn that off, do your homework and that kind of stuff. But I just really soaked everything up like a sponge with guitar. And let's be honest, obviously when puberty hits, the reason you started playing is to get the ladies. Like,
That's what Vince Neil said.
I mean, you're like, well, here, I got a wife now, so
there you go.
but it's one of those
You
things
guys are
that
expecting.
yes, twins on the way.
Yeah,
Twins on
congrats,
the way.
buddy.
Yeah, I'm excited, super excited.
Yeah,
My wife is just so
Congratulations,
uncomfortable.
man.
That poor woman, she's so uncomfortable.
I
But
know, right? We get to just root for, like, yeah,
Luckily,
root for her, and she's
next
the one
week
like
she's
with only,
finally off of work. She gets her maternity leave and she'll just be able to rest and relax. But yeah, very excited. In May we've got twin. I tell everybody I'm gonna have a full rhythm section.
Yeah, for sure. You have a band there, baby.
Exactly. I'm gonna have a full rhythm section. I got two on the way.
Fantastic.
Yep. So yeah, man, it just really in high school I was constantly, I was that weird kid that was always playing metal and all that stuff, and I loved heavy metal. That was like naturally on guitar. It's like some of the hardest stuff that you can play. That and jazz, kind of, it's just so difficult sometimes. But
Right.
I always learned more and more and more. And then I'm from Illinois. My father lived out here for a few years while I was in high school.
Fullerton, right?
Yeah, and I came out here. Well, he lived in Yorba Linda, but I came out here to go to Fullerton College. And I studied music there. Shout out to Joe Jewell, my professor there. And it was just kind of a thing where I had this button that clicked, and he said to me too, like, hey man, you're doing too much right now with work, school, and music. Like, what do you want to be, a teacher, an educator like me, or are you trying to be a player? I was like, yeah, I want to be I want to, like, be in a band. I want to, tour and that kind of stuff. He goes, school's going to be here. Take the time to go and play, perfect your craft. You have the tools that how to play well, and you can continue to get better. Go get the jobs while you're young. Do your touring while you're young. And I did. I took it to, I just ran with it. I didn't do a ton of touring because touring is expensive.
He essentially kicked you out of school.
He kind of convinced me to drop out. Don't worry, Joe, you're retired now. They're not going to write you up. But yeah, it was, at that point I was in a band. We were called Idiom, and we ended up going on, some Warped Tour dates in the West Coast.
Right. How long ago was this? What, like
that was 2004.
Wow.
That was 2004. We went on the Warped Tour.
And there's obviously, you have a string of people, like a laundry list of who's who. What bands were you expecting to see and look forward to seeing?
So the only bands that I really were looking forward to see during that time, because I was such a metalhead, was Atreyu was on the main stage. And the funny thing was that I actually worked with those cats in a school uniform store. And I was like, you guys have the coolest band name I've ever heard in my entire life. And so I was stoked about playing, the same festival as them. We were playing like one of those side stages, but we definitely captured the crowd. It was fun. It was a lot of fun, except Fresno on the 4th of July when it was 115 degrees. Yeah. That was not fun.
It's scalding hot.
Yeah.
Shout out to my brother-in-law John, who lives in Fresno, in Clovis section of Fresno. But it's freaking deadly hot, dude. It's
in the
hotter
summertime,
than hell, dude. And
it's worse than Vegas.
It's crazy.
It's brutal. It absolutely
really is. So that's where the show was held out here in the West, or? Yeah,
so that was one of the ones that we played. We played Oxnard, Fullerton, I think Pomona as well.
Yeah.
But then,
P-Town.
I played in some local bands. One of them was called Light Up the Eyes. Actually, we got pretty big locally.
Yeah.
To the point where we didn't even really want to tour, because we would play like every other week in SoCal and like sell out everywhere we'd play. Like under 1,000 cap venues, like, House of Blues in Anaheim, Chain Reaction, some of the places up on the Sunset Strip, except for the Whiskey, because they
Right,
always made
'cause
us
it's a
sell crazy
pay-
amounts of tickets.
It's a
and,
pay for
yeah,
play, right?
you never really make money at the whiskey at that level. But
Yeah.
we would make really good money at other places, like Slide Bar was our home base in Fullerton. Shout out to the Pop Off Brothers. I miss that place.
Lit,
Yeah,
baby.
lit. So, you know, we would play a lot of the Orange County venues, and we had such a good following there. Just, you know, sometimes life happens and the band kind of parted ways after a certain period of time. And yeah, it's just, it was,
Dude, you're like a retired. It sounds like you're like a
I
retired.
know.
This is like a retired guitarist in a huge band that had its heyday. But then you come out of retirement, and then only to find out you're only 40 years of age, which is insane to me. And now you've captured the audience, far and wide through the via Bigo.
Yeah.
And let's talk about that, dude. You've amassed
So-
how many folks? How did it all start? Let's just backtrack.
Yeah, the progression there is crazy.
Yeah, dude, it's insane.
I had a little bit of a dark period for music. Like I kind of
Okay.
backslid and didn't practice a whole lot after like the band kind of parted ways.
Mm-hmm.
And then my bassist, who was like one of my best friends, this is a little emotional for me, but
Shoot.
he passed away.
Sorry to hear that, man.
Thank you, man. It's something definitely. You know, when you hear certain musicians, like big musicians like
Randy
Ozzy, talk about
Rhoads,
Randy
yeah,
Rhoads and stuff
yeah.
like that, I feel their pain
Yeah,
big time
yeah.
when I hear them talk about it, because I've gone through it.
Wow.
And
sorry for your loss.
thank you so much. Rest in peace, Devin. But you know, I kind of had a recommittal to guitar after he passed, because Devin always would talk shit if we didn't practice. He could tell.
Right,
He could
right.
tell if you didn't practice before you got to rehearsal. This is not practice. This is rehearsal. You practice at home
Right.
and get in here and get ready. So I had a recommittal to the instrument. I was practicing every day, and then the pandemic hit
Oh shit.
a couple months after he passed, and
Holy cow.
I was like on a dating app at the time,
Uh-huh.
and I'm like, might as well find a honey while I'm, you know, here at home, stuck alone, just chilling, which I found my wife there.
Wow.
So,
Bravo.
I noticed there was a live feature on the
Okay.
app, and I was just checking it out, click the button, what's going on in here. Everybody was being boring. And I'm like, this is weak. Let me
Yeah.
grab my guitar and click the live button myself and
Right.
start entertaining people, because
Yeah.
it said go live, and I did. Well, I didn't know exactly like how it worked, but people started sending me gifts, and then I'm just, you know, like, what's that all about? I didn't realize that
little token
equates to
chips.
dollars, you know? And they're like, yeah, that's like me sending you a tip. And I'm like,
Wow.
oh, well, full send. What do you want to hear? You know, like, so I would start playing whatever, you know, songs that I knew, play a little riff here and there and make people happy. Well, cut to about a year later, I was having major attrition problems on that app, because as a dating app, the inherent problem for building an audience is that as people find somebody they're looking for, they're going to delete the app.
Right.
So I was losing followers faster than I could put them on.
Wow.
And somebody was in my stream and said, man, I hate seeing you on this app and, you know, hardly have an audience. You should go check out this app called Bigo. There's a massive audience there, which there are almost 500 million users on Bigo. It's massive. It's
Wow.
huge in Asia. It's based out of Singapore.
Right.
And I was like, well, let me just download it and give it a shot and see what's going on there. I stumbled into a stream where an agent, there's agents on the app that help you get like the
give us a
bonus
breakdown.
payouts.
Yeah, how does that work?
So yeah, you can be an independent streamer on Bigo, and you can earn your gifts from your supporters. But if you have at least 30 hours per month over the course of like 15 days or more to devote to Bigo, you actually can make a bonus payout from the app. So they'll say, if you hit these certain metrics of time streamed,
Right.
income from your supporters, we're going to pay you
On the
additional,
backside. Oh my
every
God.
month. And that you have to be within an agency, because the agency, they help train you on the app, which I'm now a trainer. Like I actually do that as
wow.
part-time work on the app now too. I work for one of the largest agencies on the app. Shout out Taylor. Shout out to Taylor and the Karma family and agency. But we, you know, now with the agencies, you're on the app and you're getting more exposure. You're getting certain events at certain times that kind of boost your streams and help, you know, help further your outreach on the app.
Right.
So, I mean, I now have 188,000 followers on Bigo, which
What the
I never had imagined.
Really?
Like you know, more
Thousand.
than 10,000 or
Is it
50,000 people
100
following
and
me.
something thousand. Holy moly.
188,000 followers.
Put it here, man.
Yeah, thank you. And
Wow.
I guess it goes back to that whole, you know, we were saying it earlier. If you love what you do, you never work a day in your life.
Yeah.
Early on in Bigo, I was fortunate that the admins and team there, they actually spotted me. They really liked my content and what I do. I'm not messy. I'm not trying to get in everybody's business. I just want to entertain an audience and be somebody that they gravitate towards. And they said, hey, we love your content. We would love for you to represent our brand. Would you like to be on a billboard?
What?
Absolutely. Like, wait, I'm sorry. Most people would pay like $5,000-$10,000 to be on a billboard. It's not cheap.
Not feasible.
Like, it's very expensive for marketing.
For the average Joe.
And they said, we want you to represent our brand. And they, you know, every now and then you might even see like commercials on Candy Crush or something like that, where you'll see commercials from Bigo. I'm in some of them.
Wow.
Like, you know, like little snips from my stream and stuff like that. And so it's been a great relationship back and forth. Like, you know, I gotta be honest, I get emails and DMs from tens of other different streaming apps, but Bigo's really where it's at, man. For me, I don't even bother with like YouTube or any of that stuff because my
you found your audience.
On Bigo.
It's on
yeah,
Bigo.
Exactly. I got 180,000 people.
It's like you're cheating on your wife or something kind of thing.
What's the point? Yeah.
Bigo's the way to go.
Yeah,
Stay
exactly.
loyal.
Why am I going to go and spin my wheels at something that may not even pay me or may not?
Yeah.
And I've got such a great, you know, community and support on Bigo.
Just grease
Shout out
the
to
wheel.
my stream
You don't want
over there. You guys are tuning in right now. I see them over
there. Yeah, you don't want to reinvent the wheel that you're already on, and you just want to grease it up. You know.
Yeah, I want to make it a well-oiled machine.
Yeah.
You know, my audience knows what time they can tune in to see me every day.
Oh, so you prime them at this point and this time.
Most of the time.
Yeah, you kind of know more or less.
If I'm on like a couple hours late, they'll be like, where you been? Like, you know, I like to be somewhat of a creature of habit, you know, even though the benefit of my job is that I'm self-employed and I create my own schedule. There's no limitations to what time you can log on to stream.
Yeah.
But I like to keep it pretty regular. You know, I like to have my own habits and routines.
So let me ask you, like, what can you play for us tonight, man? I mean, I want to hear.
Oh, man. I mean, let's see here. I can give you my favorite riff. Let's see if you
Crazy. And that's how it goes. Randy Rhoads, baby.
That is a fun one. That's actually like
it's incredible.
My favorite song to play, and it never gets old.
It never does.
That is the one song that never. Actually, there's two songs.
Okay.
The other song that never gets boring is. A little Pride and Joy by Stevie Ray Vaughan.
Oh, wow.
That song does not get boring either.
She's my pride and joy.
Yeah. That is one of those that those two songs do not bore me ever. And especially with Crazy Train, the solo in it.
Wow. That's impeccable, dude. It's so effortless.
It's one that
seamless, bro, like unreal.
I think that realistically, that's the only solo that I really play note for note. That's how it's written.
Wow. Yeah, I was about to say.
In high school, I obsessed over that song to the point where I probably spent 2 months just on that song, learning every single note for note on that solo. And it's funny too, because my mom is not a metal fan at all.
Yeah.
Or like hard rock, but she loves Crazy Train.
Yeah.
Because she heard me play it probably
Yeah, dozens of
nonstop when I was
times,
younger. Yeah,
plenty
exactly.
of times. And so what happens many a times is like you listen to something so long that it acquires that, it's a taste that's
Yeah.
acquired. So yeah, man.
Yeah, music's like a language,
Yeah.
especially when you're talking about guitar or piano. There are two instruments that are written as like far as standard music
Right.
musicianship is concerned.
And isn't it true before you, and I'm sorry to interrupt,
No,
isn't it true that it sounded like two guitarists that were playing when it was just one was Randy Rhoads?
So on Crazy Train,
Yeah.
he actually did triple it in the studio.
Right.
And
Okay.
what you're referring to, actually,
Mhm.
he actually played two different parts on the solo.
Wow.
On the part where it comes to like it's weird because I can't even really start in the middle of the solo because I have to kind of play it as a whole.
Play as a whole.
But so like
Please.
this part. That was a little rough there, but anyways,
It's okay.
at the part where he's doing that part, there's actually a harmony that he's playing there. So
Wow.
you're hearing two different guitar parts, and not many people knew that. And then recently I was watching something where Ozzy
Mhm.
was in the studio hearing all the masters, and he goes,
Wow.
isolate just the guitars. I want to hear that because he misses Randy so much, and then the engineer goes, did he have two different parts in there? He's like, yeah, he did three actually. So it was kind of crazy. Some of these little things that you hear, little nuances in songs and stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
You never know that until you hear like the behind the
Right.
the stories and
I
stuff
saw
like
that
that.
the VH1 behind the music back in the day.
Right.
And,
Oh yeah, I love
he was
those.
talking about that, and then it was they break down the whole songs as they were, and many a times, yeah, you talked about that extensively. Also, that Randy was a local guy, he was Santa
Yeah.
Monica cat.
Yep.
And then I think he's buried in Riverside, California, of all
Yeah.
places. But yeah, the guy was impeccable. I mean, he played, I think, at the other. I mean, obviously, you say, what did you bring up? Ray Vaughan, right?
Stevie Ray Vaughan.
Stevie Ray
Yeah.
Vaughan, and I mean, yeah, it doesn't get any better than those cats. And
Right.
then Eddie Van
Legends.
Halen, and then
Eddie and Randy were like rivals. I didn't know if you knew
wow.
that. So
No.
Eddie used
But
to.
I could see why.
Ozzy said this too, and I guess he had actually he addressed it with Ozzy a long time, and I might be somewhat wrong on this, but Ozzy said that he used to almost bully Randy to the point where he would just kind of I'm better than you type of stuff.
Yeah.
So that was where the whole thing of he didn't want to face the audience during certain solos because he was worried that Randy was going to steal his stuff or that somebody was going to steal his vibe or something like that.
Wow.
So they were somewhat rivals, but I think it was all in like, competitive nature in that time. But
sure.
they Eddie was just one of those just virtuosos that was so fluid when he played as well.
Yeah.
And the cool thing about Eddie for me as a player is I kind of subscribe to this too of you don't need all the pedals, you don't need all the fancy stuff. You need a good sounding amp and a comfortable, nice sounding guitar. That's it. When I used to play live, I had a tuner, a wireless, and a power conditioner straight into my amp. I never bothered with pedals or anything like that because I like to say I let my fingers do the talking.
Right.
Each individual guitarist has their own unique sound based on their fingers, the amount of pressure you're applying on the strings, the way that you're holding your pick, the tone of your amp, the guitar you're using.
So we're talking about some of the guitarists. Someone didn't get like that I thought was among the greatest guitarists. There's so many, arguably, but I think he got like a lower, end of the stick. Was Richie Blackmore.
Oh, he's a great guitarist.
I mean, freaking phenomenal guitarist.
I don't like to be someone that talks shit on musical abilities of people.
Yeah.
There are countless overrated guitarists.
Yeah.
Around. I'm gonna just throw the shade right now, but Kurt Cobain was not that great.
No.
He's a great songwriter, great performer, that kind of stuff. But I mean, I would say the most talented thing he did was drugs. But
Yeah.
you know, it's each school has their own thought though, because some of the most
Yeah.
talented guitar players I know, he's their hero.
Right.
So I'm like, you could play circles around that guy and he's your hero.
Right.
Why not revere somebody that's way more talented like Randy Rhoads, Eddie, or, you know, Dimebag or somebody like that? Yeah.
Yeah.
Dimebag is my favorite. He's my
Pantera.
favorite.
Play some Pantera, man.
Oh man,
Yeah, the Cemetery Jam.
you know what? Cemetery Gates is not one that's in my repertoire, but I think one of my favorite
Go for it, dude. Go for it.
favorite Pantera riffs is definitely the Mouth for a War. It's just that groove, man. That Pantera groove.
It's like no other. You know, it's
Yeah.
otherworldly. It really is.
And that's, I think, what made Dime so cool as a player was
Yeah.
that he could solo with the best of them,
yeah.
but he also wrote just these amazing grooving riffs
Right. Yeah.
that not too many other people could pull up.
Very masterfully done.
And even like the rhythms, like another one of my favorite Pantera ones that I play is fucking Hostile. And that one is just like, that one's actually hard to play sitting down because I like to extend my arm a little bit. But
Right.
yeah, it's a really, really cool. He
man.
would do stuff that most other guitarists wouldn't try from a rhythmic standpoint,
Sure.
as well as
Yeah.
like soloing and stuff like that.
Wow.
Yeah, I am kind of
Breathless
a
is,
eclectic
yeah.
guitar, aficionado. I like to sample a little bit of all genres, especially
Okay.
because it makes my career on Bigo that much more successful.
That's why they love you. All those people that are on right now. What's up, guys?
If I just played metal all day, I'd say only half of them would tune in.
What's some of the other stuff that you've dabbled in lately?
Country lately,
Yeah, I
I've
like
actually, and that's
countries.
why I gotta tell you, I just like some of the, what my favorite ones to play are like little Hardy action. Like it's fun to like some of the newer, I guess, Tennessee guys like Morgan Wallen, and
Sure.
they're fun to listen to and play.
Jolly
Great
Rolls.
voices. Yeah.
What's this cat that was doing like rap and pop, and now he's a country, full on country, and the guy's
That
got a
Post
voice,
Malone?
bro.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable. His
Right?
voice, he could just adjust and in sync with anything, bro. It's
I
unreal.
will say, okay, so his writing style is definitely all over the place. The
Yeah.
funny thing about him, he was a metal guitarist.
No way.
Before he started being a rap star or anything
Yeah.
like that, like
Yeah.
before he was into pop or rap, actually, if you look at some of his old videos, he was in a hardcore metal band.
Really?
Is the guitarist, yeah.
What? I'm mind blown.
And he
bro.
has a very impressive collection. He goes to Norm's Rare Guitars all the time. I don't know if you're familiar. That's up in, I think, Tarzana here.
Yeah.
They are Van Nuys. I can't remember, but Norm's. That guy has like the craziest collection of anybody in the world of guitars. And he's got the storefront. He sells a lot of new guitars, but he has like the super rare stuff in the back that he'll bring out for like the big clients.
Yeah, sure.
And you can just walk in there on a random day of the week and you'll see like,
like
there's
Slash.
Slash. Yeah, exactly. Oh, Joe Bonamassa is here. Like these world-class musicians are just hanging out, playing all the guitars there and stuff. Post Malone goes and buys a new one like every couple months.
That dude,
And he's a big time musician.
Yeah.
The funny thing though is like, okay, not to shit on too many people's music taste, but I'm not a huge fan of the auto-tune stuff. And when you listen to him, you can hear it in there big time.
Okay.
He's very creative and he's a great musician.
Yeah.
A lot of it's
You think it's like
produced.
showman and stuff?
Oh
Like,
yeah,
it's
definitely.
showmanship.
A lot of it's
Yeah.
big time produced and
Right,
stuff
right,
like
right,
that.
right.
But
Aren't a lot of people though? You know, let's just
nowadays,
talk about
definitely,
yeah, most
definitely. I'm such a purist, man. I'm
Yeah,
like, that's why I'm
yeah.
like, I hate shitting on it because it's an art form.
Right, right.
But I just like, I think what rubs me the wrong way is that you got people like me or people better than me that deserve so much more. And these people that have a fraction of that talent have made it leaps and bounds beyond where anybody could imagine. And I'm not trying to take away from their success
Yeah,
because,
yeah.
hey, man, you make it work for you. That's
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
But it's just so different when you're like, how come I'm not way higher than where I'm at in stature from music
right.
when these guys, their talent level is nowhere near where I'm at.
But you are though. You are. I mean, you are, dude. You're. I mean, Bigo loves you, bro. And I'll tell. Okay, so, it's like your time is coming for you to shine full blast, full blown. And I'm happy to have you here at Almost Famous Podcast.
Yeah, I mean, this is
like,
great because it helps
fantastic.
get my name out there more.
Dude, and this is just like, I think it's like a springing board for all the people that go through here, by the way, become super successful after.
Hey.
I'll
be expecting a call from agents and not Bigo agents. I got my Bigo agent.
I hate bragging, dude, but I think I have bragging rights at this point. There are quite a bit of folks that have come through here that have graced us with their, whether they're musically or artistically in every sense of the word. They've gone on to do pretty cool stuff. And you're doing great things with Bigo because you probably, for all we know, right now there's more people that just joined in the fun, that are going to start following you.
Untapped audience in certain realms. I have some musician friends that are like, wait, you have how many followers and you do this and how much you make? What?
Wow, yeah,
they're like, wait, why have I not been doing this? I'm like, exactly. Why haven't you? Let's do this. Like, let's start. And it's one of those things where like I said, it's an untapped audience.
Right, sure.
And so many people, part of my job is education.
Yeah.
Letting people know of what this is. And I think the point when you start getting recognized in public by regular everyday people is we're like, oh man, something's catching on here. There was twice that I've been recognized. Well, okay, 3 if you want to count when I was streaming in front of my billboard. But it's kind of funny because like my dad and I went up there to go have something.
Tell me that story.
My dad and I went up there to go and have something to eat at the restaurant right across from it.
Okay.
And I was like, hey, I asked the manager, I go, hey, would you mind if we get one of these tables that's on the outside of the patio right here? Because that's me. and he like looks up.
Like, holy cow, it is him.
Have a seat, sir. Have a seat right here, Yeah. So that was one where this lady kept on walking back and forth, back and forth, and back and forth. My dad and I just having dinner. And she finally goes, I hate to interrupt. I'm like, yep, that's me. That's me, right? Isn't that cool? I'm like, I relish these kind of things, like it's really cool to be recognized, I think.
Yeah, recognition is important. We all like validation.
The other times was actually twice at a UCLA game, a football game.
Yeah, okay.
I was just like walking in the bathroom and this guy goes, are you Guitar God? And I'm like, yeah. We watch you in the dorms, bro. I'm like, what? It's like, dude, you're sick. Like, that's so cool. Like, we watch you all the time.
That's pretty badass, bro.
And then the other time, it literally happened almost the same way. I was like walking to my seat and he goes, you're the guy that plays guitar online, right? And I was like, that streaming app. I'm like, yeah, that's me. He's like, that's cool.
Hey,
being recognized is crazy.
So that said, do you think, what are the differences? I mean, the clear difference, obviously, this distinction when you're playing live streaming and versus live. But let's say you play live versus a live stream. I mean, the obvious that you're, in front of a whether that's a camera or whatever.
Yeah.
Versus live. What is the distinction? What do you like best?
It's almost like such a different world because I'll tell you, there's nothing that's going to replicate the feeling of a packed house.
Right.
When you hear musicians and performers tell about like how it's better than sex, they're not lying, man. It's crazy. Like to feel that energy from the crowd
Yeah.
And especially when you're in a metal band, when you see a mosh pit pop off, you're
Yeah.
like, whoa, that just happened. Like,
Well, there's all those people paying reverence to the people on stage. It's pretty badass,
crazy because
bro.
like that energy can't be replicated. It's just like you feed off of it.
Yeah. So it's a symbiotic kind of thing.
Yeah, it's definitely, you know, like some nights you'll literally just say it like, man, the crowd is just serving it tonight. Like you're getting that. So there's so much different feeling with playing live than in a studio environment because it's controlled in a studio environment.
Right.
What I do, you know, is a live performance every day, but I don't have an immediate like crowd in front of me. I have that little box that I see a bunch of comments coming through and gifts coming through. I always joke with my audience that when I say open up the pit, they'll start sending a bunch of gifts and stuff like that. It's like a mosh pit for a streaming audience. But as a live streaming performer, you got to have a different kind of mental mindset for it because there's days where I'll make $5.
Okay.
You know, there's days where it can be rough. You know, I try and say, I'm like a street performer, but I'm doing it online.
Right.
And maybe at the train station that day, not a whole lot of people came by.
Yeah.
You know, and
so
it's the same kind of thing.
So you're right. Like in certain respects, it's like this is the obviously post the gadgets and internet and the prior to that it would be like no different than a street performer in the olden days, probably in a train station somewhere in New York per se, and which people still do, by the way, but
or like an open mic night or something like that where you're just performing in front of people. But this is one of those things where you got to have a different mindset for this because at times, even though you have a bunch of people that you're interacting with,
feast and famine kind of thing.
Well, it's not just that. Even if I have a bunch of people that are in my stream and they're gifting and stuff like that, it's still just me in a room.
Yeah,
and I'm like still having to find ways to reinvent and recreate things to make them interesting and fun.
Bro, but the way you play the guitar is unparalleled too. I mean, like you hear a lot of greats, but you put time and effort into it. Do you practice what's your like MO in terms of how you go about perfecting this craft? I mean, it's been over the years, but do you go weeks and months without practicing? I mean, the obvious thing would be, well, you're playing in front of the people, but do you still
my
polish
wife because she has to hear me sit there and noodle around on the couch every night, and I just grab a guitar from from the studio and bring it out to the living room and practice my chops while I'm sitting there watching TV. But the biggest misconception about the instrument and musicians and music in general is that it's easy, or I almost take it as an insult, even though people aren't intentionally insulting me when they say, you're just a natural.
Yeah.
No, the hell I'm not. This is not natural to play the way that I play. Like,
there's nothing natural
about just picking it up and being able to.
No.
Think of the first day you did anything.
Yeah.
How bad you were.
Right.
The first day that you maybe learned a new language.
Yeah.
Like I try and tell people music's like a language.
Sure.
First day you learned a language, you knew about 3 words.
The bad words first.
Essentially. So you knew about 3 words, and it's the same kind of thing, is that you're learning more words. You're learning how to put sentences together.
Yeah.
Now you're learning paragraphs. Now you're learning chapters and how to write stuff. And so that's just I take offense to it when people are like, you're just naturally gifted. No. I am gifted that I will sit there and pound my head against the wall until I get this part right.
Right.
Most people would give up.
Yeah.
Most people would say, I sound like shit. I'm done doing this. And piece of advice.
Okay, go ahead.
Piece of advice for new guitarists and musicians. Know that you're going to suck for 6 months.
Yeah.
You are going to not be very good for 6 months.
That goes across the board for anything.
That's most music. Yeah, exactly. And it's the people that are willing to push through that is going to give you that much more willpower to be better later on.
How are you so tenacious though? Like where did it all start? I mean, the aggression to, the will, the ironclad will to want to succeed
I've always
at
been
everything.
competitive,
Yeah,
very competitive.
So.
Part of that I think has a little bit to do with, my upbringing. For one, it was natural. My dad's kind of like that too. He likes to have a lot of knowledge, a lot of Um, I was in sports. I was really big in baseball, but also my stepfather growing up too. He was a professional baseball player and a major league pitching coach, and
Oh,
actually
wow. Oh, so you have
high level.
successful people in
Yeah, so
your
you kind of
family.
understand what it takes to get to a certain point
Right, right.
to
You
be
knew
the
the
best,
recipe. You
to
had the
be up,
formula.
and to be
Yeah.
up there without like having that it's just part of the nature of it. And nobody taught me to be competitive really. I think it's your own drive and desire
Yeah,
sometimes.
sure.
I think you have to find what you love in order for you to want to be competitive. So
Right,
some people, they may want to play the guitar and they may
right,
want to have the skill that I have, but maybe they're not as in love with the instrument or, hearing themselves progress.
right.
They just want to get to that point and they don't realize the amount of work sometimes. So it's like anything else. You have to really, really want it. Is it
Yeah.
worth it to you?
So there's no such thing as a secret sauce, guys. Guess what? It's a lot of toil, hard work, arduous hours that go put into whatever it is that
Hey
you
man, they
like.
they
And
print the ingredients on all the
yeah,
packages, right?
right,
It's
yeah.
like you just got to know how to put those ingredients together. It's
Wow.
it's tough.
And do you find if you could play with anyone in the past, or you know what I mean? Like who would it be and why?
Get your pull. Dime, yeah, he was the prototype of, rock star for me.
Yeah.
Dimebag from Pantera, Daryl Abbott. Um, he, he was the full package when I started listening to Pantera. The riffs that he wrote, just those grooves, the the solos, and
Yeah.
then just he was the life of the party, man. Like he was always playing pranks. He was, you know, all over backstage areas. You would see all the home videos that they would do from the road. And I just was like, man, that would be the coolest thing to do that for a living. Showing videos of them just out having fun,
Yeah.
shooting off fireworks and then
Out of your ass, huh?
this is oh, this is joining us today is our fan who won the trash the backstage for the
Right,
day.
right, right, right. Like a jackass of
Yeah,
sorts
it's like, and
meets a
that's like
rock band.
even
Yeah.
later on in after Dime passed, Vinny put out a DVD of home videos of his.
Hmm.
Vinny was his brother, and who was also the drummer of Pantera. And he said, you know what? Jackass ripped off Pantera because Dime used to do Jackass style videos for a
Yeah.
decade before that show ever came out. But he goes, props to them for making it work. But
Right.
we were the originals. Like,
Hey Ben, what speaking of which, it's a good transition to talk about real quickly about the Vans tour. Would you guys have a good time and like what are some of the shenanigans you guys got into?
so we didn't see, we were so green at that point. We were so new
You're
to
too
touring.
young, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
we were 20. And I think we were just more worried with the logistics of getting from city to city.
Yeah.
We didn't have like a van. Each of us was like piling in our own cars
Okay.
with our girlfriends and just going to
Yeah.
like the next city
Right.
and hoping that the whole
How many
band got
cities?
there.
Was there anybody that lagged behind that didn't make it, or
No.
pretty much everybody was coordinated?
Everything was coordinated pretty
Cool.
well.
And like you guys stay up late at the hotels and party, or
Surprising, no, because it would be like we would get there so late after.
and nobody was 21 yet.
Yeah. No, we drank. Plus, trust me, we drank.
Plenty of that.
It was one of those things where like we were just so green that we didn't really know what to do. But
Right.
when it came to playing around locally,
Yeah.
we were kings, man. We would
Yeah.
just like, all right, come on in and grab a beer. Like
Yeah.
I could tell you some stories of like I'll tell you one actually.
Yeah. Please
So we used
do.
to play at the House of Blues all the time in Anaheim.
right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
the Anaheim one. We played at the Sunset
Hollywood
one also,
Sunset
but
got torn down, unfortunately.
mostly the Anaheim one, which they actually tore the Anaheim one down to, well, repurposed that building, but it's now moved to another spot in Anaheim.
Okay, I didn't know that.
Excuse me.
It was owned by one of the Ghostbusters, by the way,
Really?
Dan Aykroyd.
I didn't know. Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
They started the original one in Chicago.
Right.
Yeah. So we were backstage, and they, after the first couple times we played there, they were like, you guys can't bring your full drum set. Like, why are you bringing your full drum set? We have a house kit. My drummer was endorsed, and he was like, I need my drummer, like my drum set. And so they finally banned us like our third show. And he was like, no, fuck that. You know what? I'm bringing my drum set, not my drum set. I'm bringing my bass drum because we were tired of paying like $8 a beer for like, you know, the tall cans or whatever. So we went and got 3 30 packs and filled up the bass drum. Not just the case. We took the whole head off there so that if they were like, let me take a look inside of here for security, you used to see a drum.
Beautifully done.
We were kings of House of Blues with all the other bands that would play because they're like, oh, Idiom always brings like a 30 block for like each band.
Wow.
And so we would just make friends with everybody backstage. I think that's what I learned it from watching Dime about how it's like, this is the most fun you're ever going to have playing these shows. Let's make the most of it. Let's party. Like, so show everybody else a good time. Come on in, have a whiskey shot and a beer. Let's do this. Like, I never got like wasted before we would go on stage, but as soon as you're done, let's party, man. Like, let's have some fun.
You're done working. You know, your work shift's over.
Now we get to reap the benefits of it, you know? Like, let's have some fun, you know? Like, it was what we lived for, man. It was playing shows. Just going to practice was another thing too, man. It just became part of your DNA of, you know, all your homies are like, let's go out to this club tonight. I'm like, I'm practicing. I'm rehearsing.
Right.
Yeah. And we'll come out afterwards. See you later. We'll see you down there.
Right. And then there's all this stuff that happens at the BTS, right? That people don't talk about.
Yeah.
That goes on, the fights. Wow.
Yeah.
What does that whole dynamic look like when you guys, you know, obviously there's competition amongst the people that play, but there's like, hey, he's eyeballing me, like, what's up with you? You know, mad dogging each other. Or...
I don't think we really got in too many of those like fisticuffs with other bands because a lot of them were, oh, look at that. The stream is popping off over there.
Yeah.
Hey-o. You know, we never really gotten too many fisticuffs with other bands.
Yeah.
Because, you know, it was mutually beneficial for a lot of things. Like we would book so many shows that they would help us out too.
Yeah.
But it was more like, you know, when you have 4 or 5 personalities in a band.
Sure.
Just think of like your family dynamic. If you have a family of like 3 or 4 or 5,
it's kind of dysfunctional.
There's always, there's always some sort of friction amongst people, but you still love them. Right. You know, you still love these people and they're still your great friends, but damn it, if I have to hear them talk about this one more time, you know,
get annoying the shit out of me.
Same kind of thing. It's like a brother-sister relationship. And it's just like, you know, you're not at odds, but you are.
It's a love-hate relationship, right?
And sometimes it makes for great music and great performance, too.
That's also true.
And it can make for a hell of a time on stage when you're pissed off at somebody because you're getting that anger out. You know?
Right. Angst.
Yeah.
You guys, it's been a lovely show. I mean, let's wrap this thing up. I hate to do this, but you didn't need to come back up since you live here. You're local. We'll hang out and we'll do a couple shows together.
Make this a regular.
Yeah, for sure.
Bring
let's
some
do
friends.
That.
Bring some more Bigo friends, some Bigo celebrities.
Yeah, let's do that. You'll bring out a couple folks on, and then we'll definitely plug in a lot of your. So once again, your show, what's it called? The Vocalist?
So we do a show called The Vocalist on Bigo. We usually try and do it like once a quarter. We'll probably be doing it next month or the following month.
Okay, cool.
Trying to get it in before the twins arrive.
Oh, congrats.
So
you have to invite me over for that, bro. Like once they're home and stuff.
Definitely. Yeah, man. You can come see my studio.
Yeah.
Come see my studio.
Yeah, for sure. I will.
We like to do the show about once a quarter, and it's a very, very difficult competition. It's a week long. We identify the top performers for each team. There's four judges.
Right.
Yeah, Jay Musey's one of those.
Oh, really? Yeah, that's right.
Blue Purple, he's one of the judges as well.
Blue Purple.
We're judges / coaches because we actually work with all of our team members.
Right.
To get them ready for the next performance.
It's fantastic.
We throw curveball after curveball at these contestants, and I'm not a singer, but I'm a great coach because I know music. I can help people with the right song choice, elevating their skills, choosing the right type of environment or setting for themselves. Because it being a streaming app, a lot of it's visual.
Right.
You know, you have to look appealing to be gaining an audience too.
As a salesman.
I was a salesman for a long time, actually.
So I mean, like, how take us through real quickly how the show goes, because I know you said something about the logistics of it. You're turning around, and then
so it's very similar to a show you guys may have seen on TV, where we start with our backs turned, and it's a complete blind judging. We don't want to know who it is that's singing.
Right.
We want to hear what they're doing.
It's unbiased.
Exactly. And if I feel like they're going to be a good fit for my team and they're talented enough, I'm turning around, and if there's multiple judges that turn around, we fight it out for who.
Oh, wow.
Hey, you should be on my team for this reason, and then we let that contestant choose.
Can anyone? How does one participate? Is there like a pool or something?
There's actually early signups are through Instagram. You guys can actually message me either on Bigo under my ID Guitar God as well. I'm sorry, Guitar God 83.
Okay.
But then also on Instagram, you can message. You actually can't message the judges.
Yeah.
We'll just tell you, how you can sign up, but because we want it to be blind, we
Right.
don't want to know who's going to be singing. Pay attention to my Instagram. So if you follow me at Guitar God _ 83, that is where you'll see us posting all the promotional materials for the show, as well as just me on my story making announcements to sign up. We'll tell you how to sign up through the agent through Taylor. She's our producer.
Cool.
So she knows
Shout
all the
out
people.
to Taylor and Jaren, and
she knows all the signups.
okay,
but none of the judges do.
get it.
So
Okay.
she's the producer. She's the one that's going to
Right.
give you the rules, tell you how the format goes, and have you
Love
agree that it's a week-long competition too.
Okay,
So,
cool. That's
yeah.
a lot of fun. So I'm looking forward to downloading the app, the Bigo app, and maybe perhaps I could give it a shot. You never know.
Absolutely.
I might
Hey.
have some vocals.
Hey,
You never know. So yeah, let's make this a habit. What do you say?
absolutely.
Yeah, I
man.
love it. Why don't you rock us out
Let's
with a cool tune,
let's
and
see
then
here. We'll go with some drop D action here. This is some of my favorite tuning is like the open stuff where
yeah.
you get to do the chugs,
Yeah. Benjamin Smith, ladies and gentlemen. Guitar God 83. What's up? Yeah. We tore a hole right through the ceiling, baby. That's my show.
Yeah.
Guys, Almost Famous. Take it away, guys. Follow me at Jim Francis Mason. Don't forget to subscribe. All right, guys?
Yeah.
That's our show tonight.